Did you know that women who refuse to conform, who walk alone, lead without seeking approval and reject societal expectations, are rising in numbers like never before? These women are known as Sigma females, and they terrify the world. Society doesn't celebrate lone wolves. It tries to tame them, silence them, and push them back into a mold. But why? And what makes Sigma females so powerful that the world feels threatened? Today, we're uncovering the 9 reasons why society tries to silence Sigma females, and why they must never let that happen. Sigma females are not followers, but they're not interested in leading a crowd either. They are independent, deeply intelligent, and move in silence, yet their presence is impossible to ignore. Unlike alpha or beta women, they don't seek validation from society. They create their own rules, and that is terrifying to a world that thrives on control. But let's break down exactly why society tries so hard to silence them. Reason 1. They are uncontrollable. Society has always operated on one key principle: control. It sets expectations, builds norms, and creates invisible rules that people are expected to follow. And when it comes to women, these rules are even more rigid. Dress modestly, speak softly, don't be too much, and always seek approval before making decisions. But a Sigma female? She doesn't just break these rules. She acts like they never existed in the first place. Unlike many people who feel the need to fit in, a Sigma female moves through life by her own rules. She decides how she wants to dress, who she wants to be, and what she wants to pursue, without looking over her shoulder for permission. Society expects women to conform, to blend in, to be agreeable. A Sigma female does the opposite. She embraces her individuality, refuses to be tamed, and carries herself with an air of quiet confidence that is both captivating and intimidating. Predictability is comforting. It makes people feel safe. Governments, corporations, and even traditional family structures function best when everyone plays their assigned role. But when a woman refuses to be categorized, when she refuses to submit to what the world expects of her, she becomes a wild card. A Sigma female isn't motivated by societal pressure, trends, or external validation. She doesn't follow the herd mentality, which means she can't be easily manipulated. She doesn't care if people call her too independent, too intense, or too different. In fact, she thrives on the fact that she stands alone. And this terrifies a world that thrives on obedience. People are quick to label Sigma females as difficult or rebellious, simply because they refuse to be controlled. But the truth is, they're neither. They're just free. Think about it. How many times have you been told that as a woman you should take a safe career path? That you should settle down by a certain age? That being too independent might make you intimidating to others? Society uses these warnings as scare tactics to push women into a box. But a Sigma female, she doesn't care if her choices make others uncomfortable. If she wants to start her own business, she'll do it, even if people tell her it's too risky. If she wants to travel the world alone, she won't let fear stop her. If she doesn't want to settle for an average life, she'll chase greatness, no matter how many people tell her it's unrealistic. Her life belongs to her and no one else. What makes a Sigma female truly powerful is that she doesn't seek conflict, but she also won't avoid it. She doesn't pick fights, yet she never backs down from standing her ground. This quiet strength makes her unpredictable. And unpredictability, that's dangerous to a system built on conformity. The world may try to silence her, but here's the truth. A woman who cannot be controlled cannot be stopped. Have you ever been told you need to tone it down or be more like everyone else? Drop a comment below. Let's talk about it. Reason 2. They prioritize their own path over expectations. From the moment a girl is born, Society starts writing her script. It tells her who she should be, how she should behave, and what her priorities in life must be. She is expected to put others before herself, be agreeable, and follow a timeline that has been in place for generations. Be a good daughter, be a supportive partner, be a nurturing mother, fit into the mold, but a Sigma female. She throws that script away without a second thought. She doesn't live for society's approval, nor does she make decisions based on what others think is right for her. Instead, she listens to the only voice that matters, her own. Most people are conditioned to seek validation before making big life choices. They ask their parents if their career choice is acceptable, they check if their friends approve of their relationship, and they follow cultural traditions, even if it makes them miserable, because stepping outside of expectations feels too risky. But a Sigma female, she doesn't need permission. She trusts herself first. Whether it's her career, relationships, or lifestyle, she makes decisions that align with her own values, not what society expects from her. This self-reliance is what sets her apart. She doesn't fear taking the unconventional path, even if it means walking alone. For centuries, women have been expected to prioritize others over themselves. They are told that their happiness should come second, to their families, their partners, their children. Society glorifies self-sacrifice as if it's the highest achievement a woman can attain. But Sigma females refuse to accept that narrative. They understand that choosing themselves isn't selfish, it's necessary. They don't believe in sacrificing their dreams just to fit into a role that doesn't serve them. If they want to travel the world instead of settling down early, they will. If they prefer a career over marriage, they won't apologize for it. If they choose to walk away from toxic relationships, even family ones, they won't hesitate. And this level of independence, it makes people uncomfortable. A Sigma female proves that a woman doesn't have to follow the traditional path to live a fulfilling life. And that shakes the foundation of a society that thrives on control and conformity. Because when one woman chooses herself, others start to realize they can too. And that's how revolutions begin. Have you ever chosen yourself over what was expected of you? How did the world react? Let me know in the comments. Reason 3. They intimidate insecure people. Confidence is a rare trait. Most people spend their lives searching for approval, needing validation, and trying to fit into groups just to feel like they belong. But a Sigma female, she doesn't play that game. She moves through life with quiet confidence. She doesn't need a crowd to feel important, doesn't seek constant reassurance, and never begs for attention. She knows her worth, and that's enough for her. But here's the problem. When insecure people see a woman who is completely comfortable in her own skin, it shakes them. Most people define themselves based on external factors: social status, relationships, appearance, and popularity. They need compliments to feel attractive, friends to feel valuable, and societal approval to feel like they are doing life right. A Sigma female operates on an entirely different level. She isn't chasing validation. She doesn't need people to like her. She is her own source of confidence, and she never lowers her standards just to fit in. And that makes insecure people deeply uncomfortable. When someone who lacks self-worth encounters a Sigma female, they see a reflection of everything they wish they could be. Instead of admiring her strength, they often react with jealousy, resentment, or outright hostility. They feel threatened, not because she's doing anything to them, but because her existence alone exposes their insecurities. History has shown us that when a woman refuses to be small, the world tries to shrink her. She's called arrogant when she refuses to downplay her achievements. She's labeled cold when she doesn't need constant affection. But the truth is, These labels are nothing more than defense mechanisms used by people who feel insecure around her presence. Instead of admitting their own weaknesses, they attack the woman who reminds them of what they lack. One of the most intimidating things about a Sigma female is that she doesn't react to negativity. She doesn't engage in petty drama. She doesn't waste time proving herself, and she never lowers her energy to match someone else's insecurities. Instead, she keeps moving forward, focused on her own path. And that's why she will always be feared by those who haven't yet found their own power. Because a Sigma female isn't just strong. She reminds others of what they could be if they were brave enough to stand alone. Reason 4. They can't be manipulated. Society is built on manipulation. It tells people what to buy, how to think, what to believe, and how to behave. And when it comes to women, the manipulation is even more intense. From an early age, girls are conditioned to seek approval, follow trends, and play by the rules that benefit everyone but them. The media bombards women with messages that they need to be prettier, softer, more likable, or less intimidating. Social expectations push them into roles where they are expected to be nurturing, accommodating, and self-sacrificing. And relationships? Many women are subtly taught that they should compromise, tolerate mistreatment, and always put others first. But a Sigma female, she sees through all of it. She doesn't fall for the guilt-tripping tactics that make women believe they have to be nice at their own expense. She doesn't waste her energy chasing validation through superficial trends, unrealistic beauty standards, or toxic relationships. She understands that most societal expectations exist not to empower her, but to control her. And because she refuses to be controlled, she becomes a problem for those who rely on manipulation to keep women in check. Unlike many, a Sigma female doesn't blindly follow the crowd. She doesn't let marketing convince her that she needs an expensive bag to prove her worth, nor does she allow social pressure to make her feel incomplete if she isn't married by a certain age. She thinks critically. She questions everything. She values substance over appearances, authenticity over popularity, and self-respect over forced conformity. This makes her incredibly difficult to manipulate, and that frustrates people, especially those who are used to controlling, influencing, or deceiving others. Whether it's a toxic partner trying to gaslight her, a manipulative boss attempting to undervalue her, or a friend trying to guilt her into doing something that doesn't align with her values, a Sigma female sees through the act. She doesn't engage in mind games, fake friendships, or emotionally draining situations. Instead, she simply walks away, unbothered, detached, and immune to the emotional traps that so many others fall into. And when you can't be manipulated, you disrupt the system. You become a woman who doesn't follow orders, doesn't conform, and doesn't bow to societal expectations. You force people to face their own manipulative behaviors, and you refuse to let guilt, shame, or pressure shape your decisions. This is why Sigma females are often misunderstood, labeled as cold, selfish, or difficult. In reality, they are simply women who refuse to be controlled by fear, influenced by deception, or swayed by empty promises. And that makes them unstoppable. Because once you break free from manipulation, you become truly free. Reason 5. They redefine success. For generations, society has told women exactly what success should look like. It's a rigid, predictable path. Get married, have children, be supportive, be agreeable. A woman's worth has long been measured by how well she fits into this mold, how good of a wife she is, how devoted of a mother she becomes, and how willing she is to put others' needs before her own. But a Sigma female, she doesn't just step outside this blueprint, she completely rewrites it. Success for her isn't about fitting into a pre-approved role. It isn't about ticking off boxes society handed her at birth. Instead, success is deeply personal. It's about freedom. It's about living life on her own terms. Some Sigma females choose ambitious careers that demand their time and energy, refusing to believe that their only purpose is to build a family. Others choose to travel the world alone, collecting experiences instead of wedding rings. Some find fulfillment in creative pursuits, business ownership, or a life of solitude, something that makes society deeply uncomfortable. Because every time a woman refuses to follow the correct path, she challenges the belief that there is only one way for a woman to be fulfilled. And that shakes the foundation of everything people have been conditioned to believe. A Sigma female is not afraid to stand alone in her choices. She doesn't let social pressure rush her into marriage. She doesn't feel like she's falling behind if she's not following the same timeline as her peers. She doesn't allow anyone to define her happiness. Whether she chooses a life of adventure, deep solitude, or relentless ambition, she stands firm in the knowledge that her success belongs to her and no one else. This defiance often makes her misunderstood. People may call her selfish for prioritizing her dreams over traditional roles. Others may say she's missing out or that she will regret her choices one day. But a Sigma female doesn't live for the approval of others. She refuses to let guilt or societal expectations dictate her path. And in doing so, she becomes a symbol of independence. She reminds other women that they are allowed to define success in their own way, that they don't have to chase someone else's version of happiness, that they are free to choose lives that make sense to them. A Sigma female doesn't just succeed, she redefines what success even means. And that is why society will never truly understand her. What does success mean to you? Let's rewrite the rules in the comments. Reason 6, they challenge gender roles. From the moment a girl is born, society subtly and sometimes aggressively shapes her into who she is expected to be. She is handed dolls while her brother is given tools. She is praised for being quiet and polite, while boys are encouraged to be bold and adventurous. As she grows, the pressure to be soft, nurturing, and agreeable only intensifies. She is taught to accommodate, to avoid confrontation, and to measure her worth by how much she can care for others. But a Sigma female, she refuses to conform to this outdated script. She doesn't silence herself to make others comfortable. She doesn't shrink herself to fit into the gentle and delicate mold that society expects from women. Instead, she embraces logic, independence, and assertiveness, traits that are often labeled as too masculine for a woman, and that alone makes her a threat. A Sigma female's natural confidence unsettles those who still believe that women should be pleasant rather than powerful. When she speaks her mind, people call her difficult. When she prioritizes her own goals over caregiving, they say she's selfish. If she refuses to tolerate disrespect, she's labeled intimidating. The truth is, she isn't any of these things. She is simply a woman who refuses to be placed in a box. She challenges the belief that women must be passive, that their purpose is to nurture at the expense of their own ambitions, that they must always put others first. A Sigma female doesn't need permission to lead, to stand firm in her opinions, or to take up space. And this terrifies people who are invested in keeping traditional gender roles alive. Because when one woman breaks free, she lights the way for others to do the same. A Sigma female isn't just living for herself. She's dismantling an entire system. Reason 7, they speak their minds. The world has always been more comfortable with quiet, obedient women. Women who smile politely, agree even when they disagree, and keep their thoughts to themselves. From a young age, girls are taught that being too opinionated is unattractive, that questioning authority is disrespectful, and that speaking up too much will make them difficult to love. But a Sigma female. She refuses to live by these unwritten rules. She is not afraid to challenge authority, question the status quo, and demand change. If something feels unjust, she speaks on it. If a system is broken, she points it out. If someone tries to silence her, she speaks even louder. This fearlessness is what sets her apart and what makes society uncomfortable. A woman who speaks her mind is hard to control. She cannot be guilted into silence, pressured into submission, or manipulated into compliance. And that makes her a threat. History has shown us that powerful women, those who dare to question the norms, are often villainized. They are called too aggressive when they assert themselves, too emotional when they express passion, too difficult when they refuse to blindly agree. Society uses these labels as weapons, hoping to shame them into silence. But a Sigma female sees through the game. She understands that these labels are not a reflection of her, but of a world that fears strong women. And she refuses to shrink herself just to make others comfortable. Her voice is her power. Whether she's advocating for herself in the workplace, challenging outdated traditions in her community, or simply refusing to accept mistreatment in her personal life, she stands firm in her truth. She knows that staying silent has never changed the world, but bold, fearless voices have. This is why society tries so hard to silence Sigma females, because a woman who speaks her mind inspires others to do the same. She sparks a chain reaction, she disrupts the system, and she reminds every other woman watching that they too have a voice worth hearing. Ever been called too opinionated just for speaking the truth? Let's expose that double standard in the comments. Reason 8. They don't need society's validation. In today's world, validation is currency. People chase likes, followers, and approval as if their worth depends on it. They filter their lives through social media, seeking applause for every achievement, outfit, or opinion. They crave acceptance from their peers, from their families, from strangers online, because society has conditioned them to believe that external validation equals self-worth. But a Sigma female, she doesn't play that game. She operates outside of the social hierarchy, untouched by the pressures that dictate how most people live. She doesn't need attention or approval to feel valuable. Her confidence isn't built on compliments, and her choices aren't influenced by what's trending. She is secure in who she is, whether the world claps for her or not. And that terrifies people. When a woman doesn't need validation, she becomes uncontrollable. She can't be guilted into conforming because she doesn't care about fitting in. She can't be manipulated into seeking approval because she doesn't crave it. This level of self-assurance disrupts a system that profits off insecurity. Think about it. Entire industries thrive on making people feel like they're not enough. The beauty industry convinces women they need to fix themselves to be attractive. Social media algorithms reward those who seek constant attention. Even traditional gender roles push the idea that a woman's worth is tied to how well she meets societal expectations. But a Sigma female, she doesn't need any of it. She defines her own value on her own terms. This is why society often labels Sigma females as aloof, cold, or unapproachable. It's not that they are any of these things. It's that they refuse to rely on external validation to shape their identity. They are comfortable in their solitude, fulfilled by their own standards, and completely unaffected by the need to impress. And when the world sees a woman who is truly free, free from opinions, free from expectations, free from the need to be liked, it doesn't know what to do with her. Because a woman who doesn't seek validation is a woman who cannot be controlled. Reason 9. They inspire other women to break free. Society thrives on control. It builds invisible cages around women, shaping their roles, choices, and even their dreams. It tells them what success looks like, how they should behave, and what they should prioritize. But every now and then, a woman steps outside this carefully constructed box. She refuses to conform, refuses to obey, and refuses to let society define her life. That woman, she is a Sigma female. And here's the real reason society fears her. She sparks a revolution. The moment one woman breaks free from expectations, she proves that freedom is possible. She shows other women that they don't have to shrink themselves to be accepted, that they don't have to live for validation, and that they are allowed to define their own success. And once that realization spreads, control begins to crumble. Sigma females don't just walk their own path, they inspire others to do the same. Whether they mean to or not, their very existence is an act of rebellion. When a woman sees a Sigma female thriving on her own terms, she starts to question everything she was taught. She starts to wonder, if she can be that free, why can't I? This is why Sigma females are often misunderstood, criticized, or even labeled as bad influences. Society doesn't want women to think for themselves. It doesn't want them to realize that they can say no to traditions, to toxic relationships, to outdated gender roles. But Sigma females don't just reject these things for themselves. They empower others to reject them too. They lead by example. They don't beg others to follow, but they leave a trail of inspiration behind them. They prove that you can be whole without conforming, that you can be successful without approval, and that you can be powerful without permission. And that is the biggest threat of all, because once a woman sees the truth, she can never unsee it. One of the greatest Sigma females in history, Maya Angelou. She refused to be silenced. She spoke when the world told her to be quiet. She wrote when society told her she had nothing to say. And because of that, she inspired generations. That is the power of a Sigma female. If you're a Sigma female, never let society make you feel small. You were born to be different. You were born to break the mold. The world fears you because it cannot control you, and that is your greatest power. Now tell me, what's your Sigma story? Drop it in the comments, and let's build a community of unstoppable women. If this video spoke to you, make sure to check out my other videos on the power of Sigma females, self-mastery, and breaking free from society's expectations.